Hello and welcome to the FA Women's National League show, the weekly show where we look at everything that has been happening in the third and fourth tiers of women's football in England over the past 7 days and look ahead to what we can look forward to in the week to come. This is the first one back after the Christmas break and the first one of 2022. Hope you had a good Christmas and New Year as best you could. Myself currently in isolation with the old virus, but feeling okay. So still bringing you the show this week. It's going to be a bit of a shorter one because there aren't results to look back on, just fixtures to look ahead to. But as a lot of people will be aware, it's not been without its news in the last 2 weeks. We have had, very sadly, two clubs struggle through the Christmas period. One in the Championship, which I will touch upon, but there are a lot of people that have done a lot more research and articles about that one. They're in a better place than me. And of course, Coventry United in the second tier, not really covered by this show, but it does potentially have an impact on teams in this kind of show's remit, third and fourth tier. And then the very sad news last night of Holwell Sports in the Division 4 Midlands have also had to fold with immediate effect. Again, that affects the league plate competitions and obviously Tier 5 promotion and relegation and all that. So we'll go into that. But before that, if you are in a position to help Holwell Sports or Coventry United at any point, there are now footballers looking for teams to play for, particularly around the Midlands area. Then Twitter is your place, your first port of call, really, to get in contact with the relevant people and try and help them out. So we'll start then with Coventry United ladies, who of course the Championship side went pro in the summer. I'll touch on it. There's articles on BBC, all the newspapers, etc. have done articles as well. So the players were told on December the 23rd that their contracts were terminated. But more than £12,500 has been raised through crowdfunding. It's kind of complicated from what I can make out. There's various factors in there, but somebody has come forward to potentially buy the club, so it might be that it can be saved. Of course, they're still in the FA Cup. They're meant to host Billericay Town at the end of January, fourth tier Billericay Town. And as everybody's saying, through no fault of the players or anything like that, right before Christmas, 2 days before Christmas, they find that they don't have a job. And that has raised all sorts of questions surrounding the financial side of the game. But as I said, there are a lot of people who are much better placed than I am to report on that story. And there is a plethora of information on the internet. As I said, I've just read that one from the BBC. And there's all sorts on The Guardian, The Telegraph, I think have done one as well, and lots on Twitter surrounding that one. So that's the news with Coventry United. And then last night, Holwell Sports, not 12 hours ago as I'm recording this. It's with a heavy heart I regret to inform the footballing community, Holwell Sports Women FC have unfortunately had to fold. This is due to unforeseen circumstances and has not been an easy decision for the club committee to make. Please support all involved, and thank you to everyone who has supported us along our journey. If there are teams out there in the Midlands looking for some great additions to their squad, contact Natalie Hurst or Leah Grant for more details. If you go on Holwell_WFC on Twitter, you can then find the Twitter handles for Natalie and for Leah to help Holwell Sports out. What that means is that with them folding, similar to when Buckland Athletic withdrew a bit earlier on in the season, you may remember that one. The results against those teams have been null and voided. So there is now one side less in that league. If we look at the Division 1 Midlands table, now it has been adjusted. So Holwell Sports, they were towards the bottom of the table, but they had 10 points, a significant number of points, that they had amassed. I think Buckland Athletic had 5 from memory, if that serves me correctly. And it has resulted in quite a few changes in and around the Division 1 Midlands. The top is relatively the same, but there's quite a few shifts towards the bottom half. And of course, it means now there are only 3 teams underneath that relegation line rather than 4, which is going to have an impact on the promotion up from Tier 5. Of course, the desire is to keep all the leagues with 12 teams in them. At the moment, that means that there's 8 teams staying in the league. Another couple will come down, but it is going to change how things are. You've got 3 teams coming down, but you might only want 2 going up, so then it's going to mess up Tier 5, which, from what my research was over the Christmas break while this was happening, it seemed as though that was kind of less crucial to try and stick to 12. Where the difference with 12 is going to come in is if Coventry United cannot survive and have to fold or go back to amateur, maybe they drop out altogether, because that will then have an impact on, with the Championship wanting to remain as 12 teams, no side will come down to replace the one that goes up from either the north or the south. Now, if that happens, you struggle with options, and from the relegation from the north and the south, at the moment everything is set, but now it's getting a bit messier because of this whole sports situation. But you could be in a situation where at the end of the year we have to wait for that Northern Southern Premier playoff to see which team is going to progress up, to then go, right, well, that team progressed up, so now we need only 3 to go down, not 4, because there's no one to replace the team that went up. So yes, you were 4th bottom and you should have gone into the 4th tier, but now you're going to stay in the 3rd tier, and it's all just going to get very messy. And this is of no fault of the FA Women's National League, in sense of, and I know that they haven't come out and said, okay, this is what we're going to do, because they don't know what they're going to do, because they have to wait and see what happens. They might have a plan in place, but it's pointless to just throw things out there that then might not happen. So the league, in doing nothing at the moment in terms of saying what's going to happen up and down, are doing everything they can do. It's one of those occasions where the league, in doing nothing, is actually doing the right thing, because there's nothing more they can do. But it's not a situation I'd want to be in as the league, to try and get these equaled leagues of 12, because it is going to have a knock-on impact. One team going out to the 2nd tier is having an impact all the way down the pyramid. Maybe the easiest thing to do is to delay this, let's get everything perfectly as 12 by another year and get it as close as you can down one half of the league. And anyway, say that, for example, Ipswich are the team that go up, having they're the ones that, well, it's Ipswich or Derby that would take on the promotion playoff at the moment. If Ipswich are the ones to go up, then Derby, that's easy, because you can then make the Northern Premier easily 12, filter it down into Tier 4. The North at the moment would easily stay as 12. But the Midlands, with Holwell Sports dropping out, might be a bit more difficult. Of course, that depends as well, when you're looking at Tier 4, as to the geographical location of the teams that are coming down. Because if we have a look at, I haven't got them loaded up onto here, but I'll look at them on the screen, because I was looking at this in detail as well. If you look at the Southern Premier Division at the moment, the 4 teams going down as it stands, and I will emphasise it's as it stands: Hounslow, which are London-based, Chichester and Chelsea, who are the south coast, MK Dons, who are kind of in the middle, and Plymouth Argyle right out to the west. Now, if Plymouth go down, they go southwest. That's easily sorted. But to me, and from looking geographically, Chichester and Plymouth are pretty much on the same, I'll call it longitudinal. I can't remember if it's longitudinal or latitudinal, but kind of north-south line, so to speak. And they are much closer to London and the southeastern region. You know, they're much further east than your Southamptons and what have you. So do they all go into the southeast? Do you say, right, MK Dons, well, you're near the Cambridge area, so you'll go southeast, but Chichester, you're 30 miles further east than Southampton, but in order to keep it, we'll go you into southwest. And it's a similar situation in the north, just to bring it in. So, I mean, Loughborough would obviously go into the Midlands at the moment. Hull would go into the north, but then you've got Sheffield. Do you put them in the Midlands and have long trips? Do you put them in the north and have also a few long trips? It's so difficult for the league, and I think this promotion and relegation, we could see teams switching based on the geographical location of other teams that come down on us suddenly in that league, and I don't envy the Women's National League in that respect. So that's my view on that one. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. But I think what this Christmas has done is highlighted the problems and the issues that women's football still has, particularly in this COVID time. If we just have a look, and big thanks to Craig from Talking's Women's Soccer on this one. So we had Coventry United I've spoken about, may have a bye, they may not. You have Bolton Ladies that folded in the summer. Holwell have folded now. Buckland Athletic have withdrawn. And Brislington took voluntary relegation. You're talking 5 teams since the summer now, if you include Coventry in that. And it is clearly very difficult time for a lot of people. So as I said, if you can help out in any way, that would be great. And I'd be great to get your thoughts on this, how it's all happening. As I said, one of the things I put out over New Year, I appreciate we're now on episode 21 of this, and a lot of them is me talking to you like this. I want to make it more of a community thing. Maybe we start doing them live, so we can have some live reaction for you. Maybe I'll start doing polls and asking more direct questions to you watching, so that more people can get involved. If you do think of anything like that, changes, additions to the show, things you'd like to see, leave them down below. Okay, other stuff to talk about then in terms of the FA Women's National League. We had, being the end of December, our Manager of the Month's awards for Tier 3 and Tier 4. So Tier 3, Oxford United's manager Liam Gilbert. They had 3 victories from 3 games and reached the quarterfinals of the Cup. So Liam Gilbert of Oxford United, the Manager of the Month for Tier 3 for December. And then in Tier 4, Tom Davis of Cheltenham Town. 3 victories from 3 games and the defeat of Tier 3 club to reach the quarterfinals of the Plate. So the Plate and Cup draws have also been done. So congratulations to Liam and Tom. I'll see once I've got out of isolation and feel a bit better and up to being able to contact people and set up these interviews alongside work and everything else. See if I can get them on the show this month to talk about their awards and the league and the situations in general. So one last thing in terms of news before we look at the fixtures, and that is the draw for the quarterfinals of the Plate and Cup competitions. And I've had some interesting thoughts about these as well. So here is the draw for the Cup quarterfinal. So some of these are still to be played. In fact, most of them are still to be played this weekend coming up. We'll talk about those in a moment. So it's Derby County or Brighouse Town against Huddersfield Town. Southampton Women or Crawley against Oxford United. AFC Fylde against Liverpool Feds or Wolves. And Southampton against #United. In the Plate, this has changed yesterday because of the Holwell Sports situation. It says Alnwick Town or Leeds United against Biddeford United or Nottingham Forest. Leafield Athletic now face Sporting Cowser. They are automatically through to the quarterfinals. Cheltenham Town against Exeter City and Portsmouth against AFC Wimbledon. Right, my thoughts on this. I did put something out on Twitter, so some people will have seen this. But it's a case for me again of a lack of communication from the league. So I'm led to believe, based off some communication, although not entirely with the same people, from the Birmingham FA, who say that the draws, like for the County Cup, like they are with all draws, are put into full time, the online system, and that just comes up with the draw. Now, I don't know at the moment if they are able to put in any criteria to go along with that draw. However, it struck me, the league never said if it was regionalised or not. And it's clear that it has been, but they never said that. In previous years, it's been nationalised at this stage. Whether they made the decision to regionalise it because of travel and potential travel restrictions because of COVID, we don't know. And also, some of the draws that came out were and I did the maths on the probability of this draw, and it's ridiculous, the probability. I'll see if I can find it again, because there are so many permutations of the draw that it's a difficult one to say. I'll see if I can find it at some point, but you look at it and it's the tier 4 Midlands sides draw each other, and the only tier 3 side left in the north section in terms of Forest, who on paper look as though they would beat Bideford United, bottom of tier 4, although of course that's not a given. They get the long away trip up. In the southern section of the plate, the teams all draw the teams closest to them geographically. In the cup, they're all kind of division, in the north particularly, they're all kind of division 3 sides apart from Liverpool Feds. If they get past Wolves, I think it is, they end up with the shortest possible away trip. And it's just, even if it was completely random and done in the draw, there's just a lot of coincidences one after the other. I know if it was a nationalised draw, it was something mad like 1 in 2 and a bit million that this draw comes out. If it was in a regionalised draw, I can remember the math, so bear with me a bit. 1 divided by 12 is... Yeah, I mean, you're talking... I mean, I'm doing it on a calculator, you don't get the 1 in odds, but it's a 4 zeros, 4-2, 0.4042 chance. It's a very, very slim chance of this exact draw coming out, and it just felt like there was a lot of coincidences one after the other, which led me to write a bit of an article and put my findings out on Twitter. And I know some people sent it to some club representatives who said there may well be something in that. So that kind of led me to my appeal to the league here, is that if you have done this draw, and I won't say fixed because there is still going to be an element of a draw to it, even if you've gone, okay, well, these ties, who's going to play home and away, whatever it is, if that even is the case, and I'm not saying it has been, but if there has been criteria put in to the draw, for example, we're going to try and make it as local as possible. It's clear it's been split north and south. It's clear it's been split north and south. That's fine. Just if it's been done with criteria A, B, C, because of reasons X, Y, Z, be it potential travel restrictions, be it cost to the teams, be it whatever, just tell us. Just tell us that's what's happened. And this is the reason it's been done. We are not going to mind. What minds even more is just putting a draw out and saying, this is the draw, and nobody gets to see a draw. I've been going on and on about the videoing of draws, and I've shown it can be done, and people are asking for it. It's one of the most popular things since I've started this show it is one of the, if not, it may well be the most popular now. No, there's one show that still beats it. My mock draw for the Cup quarterfinals has more views on it than 20 of the 21 shows that I've done, this being number 21. It's got more viewers. So even if you're not videoing it, that's fine, but just be open and honest with us and say this is the situation. Because I'm sure everybody can agree that if you've made the draw particularly local and these are the reasons to try and keep the cost down and etc, etc, that's fine. We won't mind, but just tell us and be transparent with us. And by all means, don't feel, and again, this is me talking directly to the league, and yes, I can offer up help in terms of draws or what have you, or anything. There are people who will help the league if the person or people involved with all the social media side of things and interacting with the clubs and being transparent and trying to help grow the league, if it's getting a bit much and it's overwhelming, just people will help. People will help. And people will get on board and give up their time to grow the women's game of football that we love. So just be open and honest with us, and that's all I'm asking for. Anyway, that will do it for kind of all the news and my ranting. That's I'll call it that. I wouldn't really a rant, but it's more an appeal. So let's quickly then look, because I appreciate I said this was going to be a short one, and now I've spoken for 22 minutes about various pieces of news. Let's get on then with the fixtures that are coming up this weekend, the 9th of January. There's League and there is Cup. So we'll start with the Northern Premier Division. AFC FAWNL against Loughborough Lightning, Hull City against Huddersfield Town, Middlesbrough against Burnley, and West Bromwich Albion against Stoke. Fylde second in the league at the moment, taking on Loughborough, who are in 12th. Hull City against Huddersfield Town. Hull City bottom of the league, still yet to get a win this season. Huddersfield in 5th. They could climb up to 2nd if results go their way and they get the win. Middlesbrough against Burnley, that's 10th versus 6th. Middlesbrough desperate to try and increase that gap to the relegation zone because Sheffield have got a couple of games in hand. And West Bromwich Albion against Stoke, that's 8th against 9th. In the Southern Premier Division, pretty full fixture. In fact, it is completely full, bar one game this weekend. Bridgewater United against Southampton, Cardiff City against Plymouth, Gillingham against Keynsham Town, Ipswich against Portsmouth, London Bees against Oxford United, and MK Dons against Hounslow. Bridgewater United in 4th, Southampton in 3rd, so it's a close game towards the top there. Cardiff against Plymouth, that's 10th against 13th. Cardiff will be looking to increase the gap from 5 points that it is currently in that relegation zone. Gillingham against Keynsham Town, that's 5th against 9th. Ipswich Town, the current league leaders, 5 points clear of Oxford United at the moment, but they have played 2 games more than Southampton, who can catch them up if they win their 2 games in hand whenever they are. London Bees against Oxford United, that's 8th hosting 2nd. Oxford United will want to keep up on the tails of Ipswich. And MK Dons against Hounslow, that's 12th against 14th. Hounslow still looking for their first point of the season. Into the Midlands then, one game taken out. Bournemouth St Michael's were supposed to be playing Holwell Sports this weekend, but Doncaster Rovers Bells against Burton Albion, Leek Town against Long Eaton United, Lincoln City against Sporting Cowser, and Wem Town against Peterborough United. Doncaster Rovers Bells at the top of the table, then they're hosting Burton Albion, who are in 11th. Burton Albion desperately needing some points to get themselves out of the relegation zone, but it's going to be a tough ask against Doncaster Rovers away. Leek Town against Long Eaton United, that's 5th against 2nd. Lincoln City against Sporting Cowser is 3rd against 6th, so could be plenty of movement in the top half after this weekend. Wem Town against Peterborough United, that's 7th against 8th. Both sides currently on 11 points. In Division 1 North, Alnwick Town against Chorley, Chester Street Town against Durham Sestra, Newcastle United take on FC United of Manchester, and Norton Stockton Ancients take on Barnsley. Alnwick Town currently at the bottom of the league, yet to win this season against Chorley, who are in 6th. Chester Street Town against Durham Sestra. That's 11th against 8th. Chester Street Town could get out of the relegation zone with a win. Newcastle United against FC United of Manchester. Newcastle United desperately needing a win to try and close the gap to Liverpool Feds. They've got 2 games in hand on them, but they're already 8 points back, so really could do with winning this game, as it is one of the games in hand over Liverpool Feds they've got at the moment. And Norton Stockton Ancients against Barnsley. That is 4th against 9th. Again, Norton Stockton Ancients, it's already a very tough ask. They're 17 points behind Liverpool Feds with 2 games in hand. So Norton Stockton Ancients just looking for a strong up-table finish. Barnsley desperate for points to try and drag themselves away from the relegation zone. Division 1 South East then. 6 games in this one. Everybody involved bar one. AFC Wimbledon against Billericay Town. Actonians against #United. Cambridge City take on Harlow Town. Enfield Town against Cambridge United. Norwich City against London Seaward. And Queen's Park Rangers against Kent Football United. AFC Wimbledon 6th against Billericay Town, who are in 2nd. Billericay Town could go back top with a win if Actonians manage to take some points. Take the victory really against #United. They host #United. That's 3rd versus 1st. Cambridge City against Harlow Town, 8th against 10th. Very tight in and around that relegation zone. Enfield Town against Cambridge United. A very similar situation for Enfield Town. They're in and amongst it. Cambridge United up in 4th, further 9 points ahead of them. Norwich City against London Seaward. That's 11th against 5th. Again, Norwich City, if they win by a ridiculous amount of goals, could get out the relegation zone, but they could make themselves only in it on goal difference, and they've got a game in hand as well. So, important match there for Norwich City. Queen's Park Rangers against Kent Football United. That's 7th against 13th. Kent Football United still looking for their first win, and if they're going to get it, they need it quickly because time is beginning slowly but surely to run out for some of these sides. We are about the midway point in the season. Some sides have played way more, some sides have played way less. But when you've got 11, 12 games to go and you're already 4 games out of the relegation zone, 4 games from getting out of the relegation zone, 4 wins rather, the pressure does really start to mount. And finally, Division 1 South West, a much quieter programme this week. Exeter City against Bournemouth and Swindon Town against Portishead. That's 4th against 2nd, and Swindon Town is 8th against 7th. Neither of the teams can really do much. Bournemouth can close the gap on Cheltenham. They're 5 points back. They've got 2 games in hand, this being one of them. So a win there could put them with the potential to going back top. Exeter City as well, desperate as Abby and Aaron told us just before Christmas to play some league football. They've only played 6 so far this season. They've got 4 games in hand. They're 12 points back. If they win all their games in hand, they could go joint top of the table. And winning those games, you would think with a 7-goal difference behind Cheltenham at the moment. 4 wins, yes, they could be 1-0s, but you would think that they'd get pretty close to going top of the table on goal difference as well. Swindon Town against Portishead, as I said, 8th against 7th. It's a big gap already back to Poole Town, the one and only team to drop out the Southwest at the moment. So, they are feeling relatively safe, I would say. Swindon have got a game in hand as well. Still going to be looking over the shoulder a bit, but now it's only an 18-game season. They're halfway through the season. Again, time starts to run out a bit for Poole Town, particularly when they haven't won all season. Finally then, let's have a look at the Cup. Rather than having a look at the draws, we're going to have a look at the second round of the Cup, because Liverpool Feds Wolves, Derby County Brighouse Town and Southampton Women Crawley Wasps are all this weekend as well. And then the one game in the plate this weekend is Bideford United against Nottingham Forest, because the game that should have been between Holwell Sports and Leafield Athletic is now, of course, no longer. Leafield Athletic getting the win. Alnwick Town against Leeds United is taking place next weekend as well, not the 9th. So have to wait a little bit longer to find out. It is just the one tie left, of course. The winners of Alnwick Town against Leeds United will face the winners of Bideford United against Nottingham Forest. But that's going to do it for this first episode of 2022 of the FA Women's National League show. Thank you very much for joining me. As I said, love to get your thoughts on the news and the opinions that have been put forward this week about the clubs being folded and the draws and all the rest of it. And as I said, any suggestions about improvements or changes or more things you'd like to see from this show on a week-to-week basis. Love to get more people involved. As I said, the possibility of live is there as well, if you'd like that, so we can get a bit more interaction from people on the live chat and make it a bit more of a discussion rather than me just talking at you. But that will do it for this week's episode of the FA Women's National League show. Thank you very much for watching. Stay safe as best you can. So it seems to be going around absolutely everywhere at the moment, including myself. But thank you very much for watching. Keep supporting your local women's football team and women's football in general. Goodbye.